Andy Johnson, a 10-day reading intervention for students reading levels grade 3 and above, meaning-based reading intervention, meaning things are found within meaningful context to the greatest extent possible. Designed to address two of the three deficit areas, word identification and fluency. I have separate stuff for comprehension, and the full MBI includes comprehension as well. All right? Develops all three cueing systems, phonological, semantic, syntactical, knowing that most interventions include only stuff to address the phonological or phonics. This 10-day MBI consists of daily 20 to 35-minute sessions, depending on the student. It should go relatively quickly, based on the 5 most common phonograms. Here you see the 30 most common. The 5 are included in that first column. There are 2 lessons for each phonogram, hence 10. We'll go over each one of these activities. Language experience, very important. Students tell you something. What did you do yesterday? What do you want to say? They dictate, you write down on a screen or piece of paper. All right? Minimum of 5 sentences. Students then reread until fluency is achieved, usually 2 or 3 times. Then you use for analytic phonics. There's a word in the first sentence that begins with the f sound. What is that? Word in the second that ends with the p sound. What is that? Students get to practice reading using words and concepts with which they are familiar, and you can use analytic phonics as well. Variation of onset-rime here. You are presenting words in parts, Epaires. Students put it together to create a word. The target phonogram is highlighted in red. Now remember, you do not learn any skill by being exposed to it once, but by encountering it many times over time. That's how we learn any skill in any area. Then they see the entire list, go through this list until they can read it fluently, until fluency is achieved, usually 2 times, sometimes 3. Cloze to develop the semantic cueing system. The bridge is swaying back and what word makes sense there? And if students have trouble reading this, provide some scaffolding. See how I'm providing just some verbal scaffolding? We never want to frustrate students. And students shouldn't be. The goal is not for them to sound out these words. The goal is to read it fluency and guess what the highlighted red word is to develop the semantic cueing system or the ability to use context clues. So keep this moving. Sentence Guess-O-Ramma, used to develop syntactical cueing, grammar, or word order. What is a sentence? The words are all mixed up. Do you know what it is now? And if you have 2 or more students, you can make a game out of it. See when you can guess the sentence. There's about 5 or 6 of these, 3 to 6 minutes. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. Make it fun. Do not frustrate students. And then fluency work. Now you have story excerpts and you see a red word or an underlined word. The first one is 40 words. The second is 50. The third is 60. So you have a target for each student, 40, 50, or 60. First, read the entire story excerpt using scaffolded oral reading. Then the student reads that day's excerpt out loud independently, stopping at their designated target level, either 40, 50, or 60 words, depending where they're at. This will make sense. Do this 3 times, recording the time after each reading. Then, after you've done all 3, students record their daily times on a graph, and they can see their times getting better. Self-efficacy. And you are doing some progress monitoring, so you get a daily time. When the student consistently reaches 15 seconds, move up to the next level, 40, 50, or 60. The next day, the student rereads the previous day's excerpt silently and moves to the next story excerpt using repeated reading techniques described previously. Now, this is a complete story broken into parts, and it uses a lot of repeated reading, a lot of dialogue with which students tend to be familiar, and a lot of Zeno sight words here. And again, the goal is fluency, speed. We are looking to develop those neural pathways. We are not concerned about comprehension here. We are not concerned about word identification. And these are really silly stories, hence the name Really Silly Story. And the last one is replay analysis. Here, the students read all 6 sentences into an audio recorder and use 6 sentences, or 3 if 6 is overwhelming. The student listens to the recording and underlines any miscues, review, reread, and record, generally 2 or 3 times. The student listens, draws a line under any miscues, and repeat until fluency is achieved. And here you see an example of that, of some of the sentences. Now this is for reading levels 1 and 2. They are a bit more complex for students in grades reading level 3 and above. And that is the end of day 1.